Oh, we're back. We're back. How's everyone doing today? Birds in Bloom, day 2.
Yeah.
We're excited. Looks like you guys are excited too because y'all bought all the fabric kits.
Yeah.
You sold us out.
Yep.
It's exciting seeing all the orders coming through for everyone who is in. What are you guys most excited about? We've been debating this internally. I'm going to throw some different numbers at you today. We're shaking all the things up. This workshop is out of control. Okay, so here's the numbers. You guys ready? You ready to play a game with me? All right, I'm going to have 3 things. You have to pick your favorite. Okay? You can either put a number, list it, it doesn't matter, or I'll just give them numbers. Put a number 6 in the comp. Well, let me tell you the 3 things first. Let me tell you the 3 things first. Sarah's laughing at me.
You're making this up as you go along.
I am. I am. Was your favorite thing from this workshop the design, the fabric kit, or the added one-day sew-along? And the numbers are 5, 6, 7. So 5. The design is number 5. The fabric kit is number 6. And the extra one-day sew-along, number 7. Let us know. Way to wing it. Deb, you're so punny. Okay, 5, 5 and 7.
I forgot what 5 was.
5 is the design.
Okay.
6, Beverly liked the fabric kit.
Right.
Lots of 5s. 5, 6, and 7.
Oh.
I think the design. Look at this. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay, thank you.
It's a fun design. And we're all ready for spring too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We're ready for spring. We're hearing birds outside, and it's a steamy 81 here in Ohio today.
That's amazing.
It's going to rain this weekend.
Tomorrow could be totally different. It could snow.
Yep. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. This is fun. So I think 5s took it. The design followed close, not that closely, by the one-day sew-along. So cool.
And that one-day sew-along is May
5th.
5th.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So today, let's do a bit of a quick recap. Why does it do this to me? There we go. Okay, so quick recap, just so you know, if you do not have a local quilt shop near you that is carrying our products, which I saw someone post in the group, in our VIP group earlier today, you can order this straight from us, and we will drop a link in the comments so that you can order it direct from us. But we do have some shops.
We do.
Who have this in their store.
That's right. First and foremost, if you are near any of these shops, Aurora Sewing Center, Be So Busy, Craft, Attic Junction, Danner's Bernina, Heirloom Treasures, Hoover's Bernina, Nashua Sewing Back, Quilter's Yard, so much more, Sewing Concept, Sewing Studio, Super Stitch, and the Quilt Foundry. Go visit them because they have this design.
Yes.
And I bet they would love to help you find some fabric to go with it.
Oh, yeah. And I got to tell you, I love the fabric kits. I absolutely love the fabric kits.
Too.
However, it's always really fun when someone who did their own colorway posts a picture.
Yep,
it's fun to see them in different colors. Yep. So the fabric kit does make it so easy to get exactly what you see. But there's some fun stuff if you go to a shop and get kind of your own thing.
And maybe one of those shops has a design in different fabric. Just kind of give you a different idea of what it could look like.
Absolutely. Okay, so we also wanted to let you know that, of course, we've got Nina in the comments, and she is there to help you if you have any questions. Now, if you have a specific question, I might recommend emailing her if it's during the live, or waiting till the live is over to give her a phone call, since she is commenting right now, helping people on Facebook and YouTube. So she's a busy lady.
Yep, and I have known Nina to be on Facebook in comments, on YouTube in comments, and answering the phone. How she does it, I don't know. But you probably make her life a little less stressful if you wait until afterwards.
Right.
But if you do call, leave a message if she doesn't answer, and she will definitely get back to you.
And I'll flash her number up on the screen at the end of today too. So quick recap. This is what we came out with yesterday.
That's
and
right.
I think you should show them in the close-up cam. I just think it looks so much nicer.
Let me move a few things here.
So before we put her in the close-up cam, I do want to let you know you do need at least a 7-inch sewing field in order to make this project. So make sure you have that. And then the approximate finish size is 14 inches by 27 inches. And this design is available on by download or on USB.
Yeah, so here it is. Here's kind of a close-up of it. I'm going to have to like move it along a little bit so you can see the whole thing. But it's, again, part of what we have several designs that are, we call them 3 block wall hangings, because in the center there are 3 surrounded by a cute little border. And they're nice because you can replace them every time the season changes. So this is what we've got going on. And our birdhouse is one really tall. It's a 3-story birdhouse, as you can see, with an attic. And in the background, there's this cute little wood grain quilting. So like all our Hoop Sisters designs, the quilting is included as usual, and has cute little flowered applique. And our birds, all our birds, the wings are 3D, which makes it really fun. And the fun thing too on the flowers is that they are also have a slight 3D element, we could call it. You could see a little bit closer. And they're just super cute. So we're going to have some fun today and stitching something special up, but we wanted to show you this too. So this is kind of what it looks like. And super easy to stitch and super fast because there's not a ton of blocks and you could have it done.
So cute. Okay. We also want to let you know that you guys bought up those fabric kits like hotcakes. It's poppy cotton fabric. It's amazing. And it's gone.
It is gone.
We do want to let you know that there is a fabric and thread key included with the design so that you can go fabric shopping. You'll know how much you need and all that good stuff. But just wanted to let you guys know that that is gone. Those are things that you do have to act kind of quickly on, or they get ate up. Okay, so the other thing, recapping from yesterday, that we want you to know is that workshop pricing expires tonight at midnight. So if you are looking to save 10%, unlock the bonus, maybe get free shipping, pay attention right now, because we're going to drop the order link and you guys can get your order placed. But if you do add 2 or more items from the new arrivals category, they have to be in that category. I do have a few exclusions I'll tell you about, but add 2 items to your cart, you'll get 10% off, and you will unlock the bonus, which we'll show you in just a moment. Now, if your cart hits $100 or more and you're shipping within the contiguous US, you'll also get free shipping. And I got to tell you, the 10% off, the bonus, and the free shipping, these all happen automatically, which is really nice. So as long as your cart hits those requirements, you'll see those automatic promotions kick in. Again, they do expire tonight, Thursday. I don't know how it's Thursday already. This week is flying by.
It is flying by.
But it expires tonight at midnight. So in terms of the exclusions within that category, that's going to be like the wool, the strip stick, any threads, and pre-cut fabrics. Those are not included in the sale for the 10% off, but you can get things like battleizer, trimmer, different things like that. So just know that too. Okay, you talk about this because this is what you're stitching today.
All right, so this is what we're going to do today. We're going to have a lot of fun with our cute little birdhouse mug rug, and this is what we're going to be stitching today. So again, it has that cute wood grain quilting. There's the opening for the birds to get in and out of your birdhouse. We still have a 3D wing element on there. So that's what we're going to be stitching. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
I'm going to head over there.
All right.
Okay. I think I'm ready to go. So I did do the very first step, and I'm going to move this. Hopefully you guys can see it. So the very first step in the design was to stitch out a placement stitch. So you can kind of see the birdhouse shape that's on there. That's the first step. I did it in kind of a light brown thread so that you could see it on the battleizer. And basically, maybe I should back up and talk about battleizer. Battleizer, this is what you put in the hoop. And it's basically a batting and stabilizer combination product. Super thin, super easy to hoop. And it gives you your batting in your quilt projects. And it also gives you the stabilization that you need when you're doing embroidery. So I'm going to slide the hoop back on there. And our next step would be if you're going to add wool. I'm going to skip the wool today, but what it does is it gives you a little extra dimension in your quilts. So when you see the quilting and you have the wool in there, it just makes it puff up a little bit. But again, it is an optional step. Our next, and that is also done with water soluble thread. And our third step, again, in water soluble thread. And in that step, and I'm going to use the brown, it's basically stitching the pattern onto your battleizer. So let me do that right now. Okay, so there, now we have our patterns, basically our roof. Our next step is also a water soluble step, but again, I'm using the brown just so you guys can see it and to save us a little time for our live. And we tell you exactly what size to cut this next piece of fabric, and it's going to be the birdhouse. It's the birdhouse that you saw in the background. So you're just going to place that right over the top of your design. I always peek under, make sure I have equal amounts on both sides, and that everything is sufficiently covered. And again, you would use water soluble like we tell you to. And I'm going to sew a tack down stitch to hold that fabric to your battleizer. And while it's stitching, you just need to keep the fabric nice and smooth, so there's not any little puckers at the end. Okay, so it did the tack down, and in this step, it's also going to sew a placement stitch for where we're going to put some of our applique. So there's the opening for the birdhouse, and also it's stitching around where the bird is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to trim to get our birdhouse shape. I'm going to trim about 1/4 of an inch past these stitches right here. I'm going to use my little hoop scissors mini and just trim like 1/4 inch at the top. And the next step that it's going to do is it's going to do that cute wood grain quilting. And I'm going to keep the same thread. It's exactly the color I want. See how I planned that out? Yeah. Oh, Janice, your question is, do you ever use interfacing on your applique pieces? I do not use applique. Our applique is a stitch in place type of applique, and we just lay the fabric down. You'll see us do it in just a moment. There's really no reason to have that extra layer of interfacing. Got a couple more steps and then we'll do that applique part. I'm ready. Oh, Susan wants to know, would hoop shape work instead of wool? If I was going to use hoop shape, I probably would hoop a stabilizer and then cut the hoop shape out the size and shape that I need it, and then put it right over the top of the placement stitch that you sew onto the stabilizer. But that's a good option. I will say, if you're going to use this as a mug rug or a coaster, that sometimes that hoop shape could make your glass a little tipsy. So just keep that in mind. You'd hate to have something tip over.
Wanda asked, what is the bonus? Maybe show this again.
Ah, okay. This little cutie is the bonus, and that's what we're stitching right now. And Aubrey, as she said earlier, to get this bonus for free, you would have to put 2 items in your cart. And then this automatically will appear in your order and you can download those files. All right, our next step is we're going to be adding our roof. And this is a fabric I picked for the roof. I thought it was really cute. So you have a longer piece and a shorter piece. The first part, we're going to use the shorter piece, and we're just going to lay it right sides together. And we're going to put the raw edge where we cut on the birdhouse part, even with the raw edge of our roof fabric. And we're just going to lay it right there. And I'm going to leave the same thread in there, and I'm going to sew the seam. Another question? All right, now I'm going to flip my fabric right side up, and I'm going to do a little finger pressing and smooth that fabric out. And it's going to do a little stitch right here to help hold that in place. And you can just keep that same neutral color thread in there. And if you need to, you can cut the fabric up here at the top. So you got about 1/4 inch or a scant 1/4 inch. And then we're going to take the next piece of our roof fabric. We're going to lay that right side down, raw edges even. And we're going to sew another seam. Okay, so now we're going to take this and we're going to flip it right side up and finger press this seam as well. And then what the design does is it does a tack down stitch around the perimeter. We suggest you use water soluble. Oh, you guys can't see it in that camera view. We suggest that you use water soluble thread because it is around the perimeter. And then when you sew your lining fabric on this, in case that stitching shows through, you won't have to worry about picking it out or anything like that. I'm going to, again, just stick with my brown just to speed things along for today. And I'm just going to make sure my fabric stays smooth while it sews that tack down stitch. Okay, so now you can see how we do our applique. Our next step is we're going to take our piece of applique fabric, and for me, I have this brown color, and I'm just going to put it right over where the opening of the birdhouse is. And our instructions have little diagrams that you can see exactly where to place it. And now let's see what our instructions say. Our instructions say to continue with the water soluble thread. However, I'm just going to use, of course, my brown thread, keep things moving, and not only that, but it luckily matches that applique. Okay, Aubrey, did you have another question up there?
Someone asked, could they use stabilizer and battleizer? So explain, maybe we'll do a better job explaining what battleizer is.
Well, battleizer has the stabilizer already built into it. So there's really no need to add that extra layer of stabilizer. And that extra layer of stabilizer could make it kind of stiff as well. And there's just, the battleizer takes care of both of those items for you. So you don't have to worry about adding and hooping and buying 2 different products that you don't really need. The battleizer is a combination of both. So I have my tack down on my applique, and I'm using my Hoop Scissors Mini to trim close to that stitching. And there we have that applique done. And then our next step is it's going to sew the satin stitch around our applique. So I'll put it back in here, and you're going to use a matching thread on this, and you're going to sew your satin stitch around the applique. Let's see if we can.
All right. Well, she fixes that real quick. I am going to talk about the one day so long so we don't get you guys seasick. We'll get her camera fixed.
Okay.
All right. So real quick, as she's doing that applique, we also are including a one day sew along. We're very excited to try this out, see if you all love it. Basically on May 5th, we're going to have 3 live sessions and they're going to be streaming on YouTube and Facebook. So if you order the design, you'll get a chance to have it in hand, watch the live teachings, and then you can go and stitch it out in between the live sessions. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So it'll be May 5th. The first one's at 10 a.m. Eastern, and then May 5th at 1 p.m. Finally, again on May 5th at 3 p.m. So we're going to review the 3D bird wing, stitch a block, add the wing. We're also going to talk about trimming, pinning, and joining, which you will want to have your trimmer by George for. And then we're also going to, Sarah actually has a genius sleeve hack, and Annie's going to teach that as well. So if you participate by ordering the design, you will get emails and all that good stuff for the May 5th one day sew along as well.
Okay. You can see we have our satin stitch finish, and now it's going to sew a blanket stitch right over the top of that satin stitch. You could skip over this step if you want to, but I think it's so stinking cute. As you can see, I don't know, hopefully you can see the detail of it there, but that's what I'm going to stitch now. And I chose kind of a pink because it really goes really good with the pink that is in the roof. This adds a nice little detailed touch to it. And every birdhouse probably has a little perch for the birds. So I am going to put a darker brown thread in the needle, and I'm going to sew that perch real quick.
Yes, the May 5th times are Eastern time, EDT, and yes, there will be replays.
Now we get to do the bird applique. I guess mine's a little canary because he's yellow. Our instructions say to use water-soluble thread. Within my reach over here, I do not have that. So I'm putting some yellow thread in here that matches the fabric. Either one would be perfectly fine. So again, with our applique, all you do is you put, I made a mistake. I cut directional fabric and the bird goes this way. So my little heart flowers are going to be going the wrong way, but that's okay. Lesson learned. So I'm just going to lay my fabric and make sure it's centered over the placement stitches. And then the machine is going to sew a tack down stitch around the bird. And then we're going to trim it with the scissors mini. Now what it's doing, and this is all the same step, it tacks that fabric down, but it's also doing a placement stitch for where we're going to put our 3D wing in just a little bit. So now I am going to use the hoop scissors mini again to cut around our cute little bird applique. Cute, very cute. Cute little canary. And I am also going to change my thread. Our instructions call for black thread. if you want to go with something a little bit lighter, what this step does is it stitches the eyes and the beak and the feet of the little bird. So I'm going to go ahead and use the black. And we'll give them a face.
The wing yesterday, right?
We did make the wing yesterday. And basically to make the wing, all you do is you're going to use Heat and Bond Light. And you are going to take 2 pieces of fabric and you're going to bond them together, hoop them, and then put a contrasting thread in the needle. And it's 1 step, and then it stitches that wing. And then we used a pinking shears to cut around it, and voila, you've got your little bird wing.
I also had another great question. I don't know if you want to answer it now.
Sure.
But someone asked, if we do the 1 day sew along, do you think we could finish the project in that day?
I think that you probably could finish probably 70% of it, maybe. Some of the border blocks might take, another hour or 2, but absolutely, it's pretty close. Okay, so this is the satin stitch that goes around the little bird applique. Are there any more questions, Aubrey? No? Okay. If you do have a question or a comment that you'd like us to take a look at, just enter it in. Be happy to take a look at it and answer your question. Okay, the minimum hoop size, that is our question we have. You have to have at least a 7-inch sewing field. Oh, this is the fun part. We get to add our 3D wing. Very exciting. So what you're going to do to add this is you're going to put thread in the needle that is the same color that you used in the wing. And the fun part about this is you get to choose which side of that wing you want to use, because when we made the wing, we adhered the 2 different fabrics together. And I'm going to choose this one. So the stitching that happened for the tack along with the tack down on the bird fabric, it has a little placement for your wing. So you're just going to lay the wing there. Let me put in my matching thread. Hope he doesn't fly away while I do this. Okay, I'm going to double check where my wing is. I'm just going to hold it here at the tip, and it's just going to do a stitching to keep that wing tacked down in place. And our final step is our lining. The top of it is finished. I've given everybody a terrible angle, but you can see there's the front of it, which is completely finished. And I'm going to do our lining. So I'm going to take, this is my lining fabric. I'm just going to lay it right on top of that, right sides together. I'm going to make sure I have everything again sufficiently covered by peeking underneath. And let me put the hoop back. And I'm going to put, just put a neutral color thread in there so we can do that seam for the lining. It's going to sew around the perimeter, but it's going to leave an opening so we can turn it. Okay, so let's stitch that seam now. You just need to make sure your fabric doesn't shift or anything. It usually won't, but I never walk away for some of these steps. Okay, so we're done at the machine, and now we're going to go over to the cutting table, and we're going to trim this block up, and we're going to use the trimmer by George to do it. Okay, let me get rid of this little cutie pie over here. All right, so let me pop it out of the hoop. So our goal is, before we turn it, we're going to turn it through this opening. But before we do, we want to make sure we have all the bulk removed from the seam. So by doing so, you're going to have to use, your choices are to try and use a scissors right there. Very highly likely that you could slice into that fabric and your seam would come open. The other option, prior to having the trimmer by George, is maybe you're going to try the rotary cutter and ruler portion, and the same thing could happen. You could slice right into that. For those who don't know what our trimmer by George is, it is an acrylic ruler. On one end of it, you can see that there is this metal edge, and that metal edge gives us something to cut against, as well as this lip protects the fabric on the front. So what I'm going to do, let me get my hoop out of the way. I'm going to slide the metal edge of our trimmer by George between the fabric and the battleizer. And we always say we just shimmy it right up there and then lay it down. And then I always do just a gentle tug to see if we can get it as close as possible to that basting stitch. Just do a visual, make sure no fabric is peeking out. And if it's not, then you're good to go. Now, right on the trimmer by George, it says a 60mm rotary cutter recommended. And that's because a 60mm has a little more space than a 45. And with this metal edge being lifted up, you want to make sure that your rotary cutter is going to be able to clear that. Because if it doesn't, and you're trying to use a 45, you could go at it on an angle. And again, you'd end up cutting your fabric. So I have my fabric protected. It's real close to that basting stitch. And I'm just going to use this metal edge to cut against, and that removed the bulk. So you can see how it removed the bulk. Isn't that great? That way, when you turn it, you don't have all the stuff that is kind of bulky. So again, I'm just going to, between the battleizer and all that fabric, and I'm going to give it a gentle tug right up against the basting stitch and just cut that away. And I'm going to do the same down here. Give it a tug. We have the two little roof lines. Again, I'm going to place my metal edge of my trimmer by George between the fabric and the battleizer. And I'm going to shimmy it in there. Give a gentle tug to get it nice and close to that basting stitch. and then use the metal edge to cut against using your 60mm rotary cutter. And this is the last side. Okay. So isn't that awesome how the battleizer is cut pretty much right up to that basting stitch? So now we have all this extra fabric. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to trim 1/4 inch away from the basting stitches around the entire thing. And the other side of the ruler, of the Trimmer by George ruler, of course, is just a ruler. So I can just flip that Trimmer by George ruler over. You don't need to reach for a different ruler. And you can use a 1/4 inch mark right on that basting stitch to trim all that fabric away. And just go around the whole thing. Couple more sides.
Oh, it's just someone asked what rotary cutter you use.
Oh, it's an Alpha. I'm gonna
60mm.
60mm. Your local quilt shop will have plenty of them. So this is the last one. I'm matching the basting stitch line, the seam line, with a 1/4 inch mark here and also here. Okay, then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clip my corners, because it always lays nicer. And you get a nicer corner if you can clip those. Clip it close to that seam line, but don't clip the seam line.
That was close.
You can use a scissors, or you can do this with a rotary cutter and ruler, whichever way you prefer. Then you get to turn it. Okay, there we have all our trimming done. Our battleizer gone. Between where the lining is and the front of your cute little block, you're going to then turn it right side out. Get those corners poked out. Okay, now I want to see if I have a regular hoop scissors, because
So cute.
I like to use that to poke out those corners. And of course, I can't find one.
Oh yeah, you need a longer one, huh?
Yeah, it's not necessarily longer. It's just that this is the mini, and it's so sharp and pointy that it could cause some problems. But I usually use the bigger hoop scissors because it's not as sharp and pointed. Or you can use a closed pen just to help poke out those corners so they're nice. You just have to be careful not to. And I think they're looking pretty good.
Everyone wants to know where Sarah is and if she had her baby.
Sarah, did you have your baby?
Not yet. I've been pregnant for a year.
Oh, that's a good idea. Mary said chopsticks work also.
Oh, yes. Chopsticks do work great. Okay. So then all you're going to do is you're going to press it. And right here where the opening is, you're going to press both sides of those. Give it a nice press. Right now it doesn't have a nice press, but it still looks pretty cute. And then you're going to top stitch around the perimeter.
They've done this before. Lots of people saying use some chopsticks.
Yes, absolutely. So there you go. There's our cute little birdhouse.
Adorable.
Cute little mug rug. So I'll press it and get it finished, and we'll see whose dust this lands on.
Also,
yes.
I know these are little scraps, but
Mhm.
someone was asking, isn't that going to waste a lot of battleizer?
Oh,
So show them your trick.
Okay, so here's our trick. This one didn't have quite so much waste. Sometimes we have some that do. I'm going to flip it because it's not curling that way. But basically what you're going to do is you can take these extra pieces that you cut off of your battleizer. Sometimes there's this size, and don't throw them away. What you're going to do is you're just going to butt them up against each other, and you're going to do a zigzag stitch and hold it together. And you could do like, keep going if you want to make it as big as you need for whatever hoop you're using. Zigzag them together and you can hoop them and continue to use them. So I'm glad she mentioned that.
Yeah, don't waste them. That's called
No.
Frankenbat. And Karen, based on your comment as an accountant, I think you would probably love the Frankenbat idea as well. I loved this comment. So Karen says she's an accountant, so therefore she's frugal.
Yeah.
And she said it took her a while to actually justify the cost of the trimmer, but she got it about a year ago and says it's worth every penny.
Yeah,
So.
it is, because the minute you slice into that,
yeah,
it's not a fun thing to go through.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see. We'll drop that order link as well, because I see some people asking, where do I get the pattern? So we'll get that order link dropped. And you guys have some great tool ideas in the comments as well for turning.
Yeah.
So the lining looks nice. And then Terry, this is awesome, said she just made her first Frankenbat and used it for one of her blocks, and it was great.
Yeah,
so,
it's just like using a fresh piece of battleizer.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Good job, Terry.
Yep. So awesome there. Okay, what else? Let's see. Well, yeah, if it's a pain and time consuming, you'd rather buy more, then you can just buy more too. That's fine.
I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I throw scraps away that maybe some of you would keep.
Yeah. Okay, so let me make sure. Sorry, guys, I'm just checking a couple questions.
Yeah, so if you have a question or you're wondering about something, go ahead and put it in the comments, and Aubrey's checking them right now. Make sure we get everything answered.
Okay. Here's what I will say. If you want the poppy cotton colors, because I've seen a couple comments like that, I'm actually just going to pop Nina's contact information up here. And then after the live, maybe you could email her the sheet that has the names on it.
Absolutely.
And then that way we'll get it in her hands and she can get it in your hands. So if you want to try to find those colors, I feel like poppy cotton's hard to come by, just a warning.
It is.
But again, you do have the fabric and thread key as well. So, all right. Can you talk about the tools here? The tops included in the sale?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to just kind of go back to these comments.
Okay. So what we have, the picture that Aubrey put up, is we have a package of battleizer. It comes in a 5-yard package and also a 15-yard bolt. So if you're doing a larger project, the bolt might come in handy, or if you want to do a lot of projects, you might need that. The 5-yard package, of course, would be enough to do probably a couple of these cute little 3-block wall hangings. And again, it is batting and stabilizer combination. You don't need to buy 2 products. You don't need to hoop 2 products. You just need to use our battleizer. And the Hoop Scissors Mini you saw me using when I was trimming the applique. They're very thin blades. They're very pointed. And they're very sharp, so they cut right up close to that tack down stitch when we did our applique. The Hoop Scissors is the big brother of our Hoop Scissors Mini, and it basically is good for if we're doing a lot of stitch and flip piecing on a certain block. It's great for cutting that fabric down to 1/4 of an inch if that is what is called for in your design. And the trimmer by George you just saw us use, and it's amazing, and you can't do without it. A lot of times we will use Superior Threads monopoly thread. And the monopoly is an invisible thread. It's the best invisible thread on the market. And it's just something that you would use if you're going to do add a backing, a 1-piece backing, and do a stitch in the ditch. It's perfect for that. The other item on here, and you probably heard me refer to it while I was stitching the block, is the Vanish Light thread. The Vanish Light thread is something that we use around the perimeter of our blocks because we like to put a basting stitch, so our trimmer by George has something to butt up against. And that basting stitch, sometimes if you used a regular thread and then you sewed your blocks together, if they weren't exactly on that stitch or just inside of it, sometimes it will show. And a lot of times we see that on our quilts and we just leave it there rather than getting it wet and dissolving it, because everybody always asks, why do I need that? And then we just show you. But it is a thread that dissolves. So afterwards, you won't need to get out your seam ripper to tear those stitches out. And then the strip stick, if you ever use one of our designs and you decide to add that layer of wool and you need to press your seams, the strip stick it's just like a dowel cut in half that has a cover and padding in it. And it's just great for getting the seams, because if you were to press your wool, it would just end up, your iron would flatten it. But when you just press the seams by putting the seams on the strip stick, it protects that wool. Yep. So that's pretty much a lot of the tools that we call for and that we here at Hoop Sisters absolutely love.
Yes. And we will be using these, showing these during the one day sew along. So if it's not something that you have, now's a great time to get these things so you have them in time for the one day sew along and the promotion. So the top row, the battleizer, the scissors, and the trimmer, those are included in the 10% off and all that good stuff. So, and then the bottom part, the threads and the strip stick, wool and pre-cut fabrics, those are not included in the 10% off. Those are not Hoop Sisters products, but the Hoop Sisters products are included. So we'll drop the order link again. I have seen some cool comments I've starred. So we will be going back and highlighting. I have about 7 in there right now. So again, just wanting to remind you guys that the workshop pricing actually expires tonight. My slide says Wednesday. Someone told me earlier. It expires tonight. So you do have today. And again, adding 2 items from that new arrivals category, which includes actually a couple other quilt designs. So if you're looking for just downloadable stuff, there's a couple things in there to pick from as well. And that's going to unlock the bonus, which is the birdhouse block Annie stitched today. And if your cart hits $100, you're going to have free shipping as long as we're shipping to the contiguous US. So
and if you're getting free shipping, you might as well get another Hoop Scissors mini, another trimmer by George. More battleizer. You're going to need it.
Yes, you are. Especially, that's a great time to get it because you'll get it in time for the sew along, which is May 5th. I have the topics and the times on there. And while we're on this screen, I do want to pop up a couple questions. So this is a question from Mary over on Facebook, says, do you need to register for the one day sew along? No, Mary, you don't. All you have to do is order the design and we will make sure that you get reminder emails if you're signed up for texts, which I highly recommend. It's so easy to get busy and forget something. But if you have your phone, you get a text. That's all you have to do is order it and then you're in. Okay. If you can't watch it live, I know that happens too. Don't worry. There will be replays available as well. Okay. Debbie also said Frankenbat is easy and a great way to save.
It is
100%. All right. What else do we have in here? Carla asked if we still have kits available. We do not. They sold out very quickly yesterday. I think you guys liked those kits very much. And unfortunately they're gone, but we will Nina will have the fabric names and you will also have a fabric and thread key in with the design so that you can pick your own fabrics. Can you read this one?
Yes. Mary says, the top third of the wall hanging would make a cute table topper. It sure would. Just add the bottom border to it. Yes, it would. It absolutely would.
And check this out. Renette says she finished her everyday tote yesterday.
Did you post it, Renette? Because I want to make sure I see it.
Isn't that cool?
That is very cool. I haven't made one yet, but I really want one.
Then Miriam, we don't have, I don't think we have printed directions on how to do the hanging sleeve. I could be wrong. But we will show it live in video format May 5th at 3 p.m. And there will be a replay for that as well. All right. I agree with this one. You want to read that?
Aw, thank you, Darla. She says, I think this design is so welcoming for the door. It sure is.
Mm-hmm. Renee says, oh no, I think I accidentally ordered. Whoops.
So sorry.
Okay, check this one out, Mom.
The top there. Oh, we already did that one.
Oh,
yep. We
shoot.
can do it again. It was a good one.
Okay. All right. I think I got them all.
Okay.
Can you tape battleizer? Oh, I don't know. Have you ever tried taping it? I think we definitely stitch it.
I have not tried that, Kathy. You
Let
can
us
give me
know.
let us know. I'm assuming she's meaning like some binding tape or something like that, not Scotch tape.
Wow, what
Yeah.
a gift, Marion. She finished her everyday tote and gave it to her friend for a birthday gift. That's
Aw.
awesome.
Oh, I want to be your friend.
Okay, so 2 giveaways today. The first one that we're going to do is the $25 in store credit for the challenge winners. So the challenge is when we release a free gift, when you register for a new workshop and you make it and post it in our VIP group, we pick someone, they win $25 in store credit. And Nina picked today's winner.
Ooh, Donna.
Donna Smith, and she added some pretty extra words on hers.
Bluebird of happiness.
Yep.
I thought about that, Donna, and I thought about saying that, but I like it better when it comes from you. I think that's really cute.
That is really cute. So congratulations,
Yeah.
Donna Smith.
Very good.
We'll get $25 added into your online account. So congrats to you. And now we're going to do the live viewer giveaway. The live viewer is going to get $50 in Hoop Sisters store
And you
credit.
have to type in the word birdhouse. If you've already done it, you're set to go. You don't need to do it twice, but you better hurry.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'm picking a winner.
Okay. Let's see. Gonna keep going. There we go.
Right.
Carla Hauser, thank you,
Yes.
Carla, for entering, and congratulations.
Yes. Okay.
And how much did she win?
She won 50.
Ooh.
Okay, so winners, go ahead and email Nina. You have 5 days to do it in so that she doesn't have to go back and watch lives and figure out who the person actually was. Email Nina and she will get it added into your online account with us here at Hoop Sisters. And then let's also just pop this back up. So if you have any questions that maybe we didn't see as we're streaming in multiple locations and comments coming in from all sorts of which ways, go ahead and get a hold of Nina directly and she will be able to give you some help. And go shopping. You have until midnight tonight to take advantage of that 10% off, the bonus, and the free shipping. So lots of good stuff.
And get all their stuff collected for our sew along. I'm excited about it.
No baby yet. No baby yet. She's got a little bit left. So
we're gonna let that baby stay in there a little bit longer.
All right, you all. We will see you next time.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Bye.